Hello and welcome to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new chunky spicy soup. It's time to get fired up. Trust me, I'm very fired up because the Raptors won twice, obviously. Make sure the Raptors Show, you find the Raptors Show where we listen to podcasts, subscribe, and please rate and review the program. I'm your host, William Liu. Once again, Blake Murphy is on a well-earned break. I think I just saw his Cavs somewhere in the Dominican Republic. So, Blake, I hope you are having fun. I hope you're reading books, making friends with stray dogs, putting on some sunscreen, just enjoying the time off. So he'll be away for another 2 weeks. In the meantime, continue to have a rotating cast of friends in the industry who are helping to join us. So today we have none other than Lindsay Dunn, who really is everywhere.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
I'm going to be here for the next couple of days, so I thought I'd make myself at home. So I brought stuff for my side of the desk. Chris Webber, Bobblehead All-Star. I brought my own mug.
Wow.
Dunn Family Reunion, 1987.
Okay.
And I don't drink coffee, so I needed to bring some energy. And
Nice.
So get ready for this.
Yeah.
The party has started, my friend.
For the podcast audience who just heard a can cracking, I assure you it's a Coke. It's not alcohol, but it might as well be.
But can I quickly already interrupt you? And I need everyone who is watching or listening. Something happened before we went live. You were kissing your jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, just get into it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So, put the ISO camera on me, please. A big event took place over the weekend, and I'm not talking Raptors beating the Hawks. I'm talking Liverpool defeating Chelsea in the Carabao Cup. All right, don't ask me what Carabao is. It's an energy drink. But it's the biggest competition in the world. They won it, basically a game winner, essentially. There's like 1 minute left in the game. You don't just walk off kind of deal, but Virgil van Dijk, the captain, with the header, 1-0 victory, close to my heart. So, yeah, that's the promotion that I have for this. Derek, do not play the drop, man. All right. But,
I've just never seen someone kiss their jersey before.
Oh, you never seen it?
No.
No, you never seen them kiss a badge? It's a
No.
badge.
Yeah, sorry, no.
It's a Liverpool badge.
Yeah,
it's like a phoenix or something.
Okay.
And when you score, you kiss it, and then you, tap your heart. It's, right over your...
So you scored, and that's why you kissed it? I'm grilling you. I'm roasting you.
Well, my favorite team scored in a great way. And, just one of 4 trophies to collect this year. No big deal,
Just adds to some of my favorite moments that I've experienced with you. And I'm wondering if I can get right into a moment that happened with you and Masai just a couple of weeks ago that we haven't had the chance to share with anyone.
Great. Yes,
yeah?
yes. I love stories about me and the Raptors team president and vice chairman of the whole entire organization. Yeah, what happened
it was
with me
lovely.
And Masai?
So we, you, me, I think there was 2 other people in the media room at OVO a couple weeks ago. We were sitting there waiting for the practice to end so that we could go in, talk to whoever we wanted. Masai pops his head in and he points and says hi to everyone, points at Will. He's like, all I ever see from you is you talking SHIT on TV. And my eyes go huge. I'm trying not to laugh.
This is shame.
I look over at him and looks like a full-on sweat is breaking out.
Man.
And I'm trying to hold my laughter, but I don't. I'm laughing. I'm this is amazing. This is the soap opera I want. This is the Real Housewives of Toronto Raptors going on. Then what happens next is
what happens
you
next?
were I feel full-on sweating, and it was amazing.
I was flustered. It was like in the anime when the main character is really worried and a single bead of sweat falls down with a little anyway.
So I'm being the great supportive friend that I am. I'm laughing he does. He does. So what he does next is hi, I really like your coat, Masai. He tells him he likes his coat, but then it doesn't end there. It does not end there. What does he say next? He's like, yo, Masai, I'm dating a girl from Nigeria. I almost had to walk out of the room.
I told him I make jollof rice at home.
He's just trying to get back into the good graces, and I see you trying to get in there, and I'm basically crying at this point.
No, it was great.
It was amazing.
We should get ramen, the 3 of us.
We should get ramen, the 3 of us. We should get jollof, the 3 of us, Masai. Honestly, I will make you a pot. But what did I say?
I don't have his number.
Oh my God! Ask Bobby for it. Actually, he doesn't have my number either. He does. But
how did you feel in that moment, my friend?
No, it was. First off, I'm happy you brought this up because I think people are going to delight in this, and that's the whole point of the show is for people to delight in these moments of okay, the season's not going well, but people are still people and people are still doing their jobs. So we chatted. It was a real like friendly thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was lighthearted.
And then I was like, I got to get it back somehow. So I'm like, yo, Masai, like, how'd you enjoy your weekend? Nigeria lost in the African Cup of Nations. It was they lost 2-1. They were up 1-0 over Cote d'Ivoire, but then gave up 2 goals. And then we were talking about that a little bit more. And yeah, and then he's like, enjoy the rebuild, guys. And then he left. So
it
hard.
Was amazing, but I think there might be a part 2 to this that you were teasing to me.
There is a part 2 to this. So this one you weren't even there for, but since I'm such an avid goer to practice, it's mostly because I live in the West End, so it's actually really convenient for me to go to practice. So the next time I went out to practice, that's actually when I interviewed Garrett Temple, which we played on the show last week. Shouts to Garrett. So as always, since I live close enough to Scotiabank or to OVO, I just hop on my electric scooter and I scoot my way there. Now, typically this is not a problem. I actually really enjoy scooting. There's nothing wrong with it. It's you're saving the environment.
You get places faster. Green. You're not sitting in traffic.
Yeah, I weave in and out of traffic.
Hair.
Yeah, I'm breaking all the traffic laws as I go on the street, the sidewalk and whatever. And I pull up to the arena or to OVO. And as soon as I pull in and the bike racks where I was going to lock it up was like right in front of the entrance, I see like a black Suburban pull up. And I'm like, oh man, who is in that black Suburban? I really hope it's not someone who has a personal driver. And then boom, my side pops right out of that car. And he looks at me and I look at him and I'm like, uh-oh. And he's like, is that what you're riding?
Oh, there's shade.
So he's looking at the electric scooter. And then I was like, okay.
This is shame.
And then
this is gold.
Masai goes to like open the front door and I was like, oh, thank God he's gone. And I look back and I'm just fumbling through my bag for my bike lock. Again, you can't be too safe in Toronto. You really got to lock up your bikes. I look back and Masai's been holding his door for like a solid 30 seconds while I fumble through the lock and everything.
Are you just trying to get in his bad books at this point?
No. And then finally, I'm like, oh, thanks, Masai. He's like, man, it took you long enough, man. He's like, we're in the middle of nowhere. You don't have to lock this thing up. And I told him, you don't know Toronto. You got to lock up your bike.
Because I'm going to take it.
Honestly, it's upstairs, But yeah, these are the interactions that your favorite
amazing.
Raptors podcaster has with literally the team president.
That's okay. I saw him at All-Star Game, and in general, I think and a lot of people know I'm kind of really awkward. I embrace it. It's just who I am, and I'm also really shy. So I kind of did this quick little wave, and then I ran away from him.
Why did you run?
It's like, there's so many important people
words,
around.
why are you running?
Yeah, why are you running? But just seeing your face when he said that to you was probably the highlight of the Raptors season for me. So thank you for gifting me with that.
Yeah. Well, thank you to Masai.
Thank you, Masai.
We built a real banter and rapport this year. You just it's usually one way, but that's okay.
I brought you a gift though.
What? Oh, really? Okay. So, I thought the Chris Webber.
No, you cannot have that. No way.
Okay. That first off doesn't even look like Chris Webber, but that's secondary.
Yeah, it's pretty awful, but C-Web for life. Big fan. I was in Indiana for the All-Star Game.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me on this week. I got you this scarf that absolutely was not free. Wow. It was not free in a media swag bag.
Oh,
but
wow. Ooh.
Yeah. So feel free to kiss it when the Pacers or Raptors score. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, scarves are a big part of soccer as well. They hold up the scarves.
So I'll see
You'll never walk alone,
tomorrow.
Liverpool,
Yeah.
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 I don't know if I'll do that for the Pacers, but I appreciate the scarf. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which were they giving them away to every media member?
Absolutely,
or just you?
They were.
Okay, good.
I'm going to say everyone got one. I don't know if they didn't. Maybe they'll be jealous because you might have an exclusive piece of merchandise. Only 7 people got. Just kidding, but it'll keep you warm when you're scooting around.
Oh, I will.
Going by Masai, waving to the fans in the streets of Toronto.
Next time I see a black Suburban, I'm veering off the road, man.
You can take him for a lift.
That's my guy. Actually, it has been fun this year just to build a little more rapport with these people.
Oh,
Same with Bobby. I just walk up and chill with Bobby sometimes.
Okay,
it's
no
good.
big deal. He walks up and chills with Bobby.
It's good. You got to establish relationships with the people you work with, not for, with. Yeah. But I I don't know. I really wish I didn't pull up at that exact moment that Masai
I'm
pulled
so
up.
glad you did. Everyone listening or watching is glad you did. Masai is glad that you did. It's just
He's like, this is the guy they got on TV asking if I got enough for Pascal Siakam. This is the man. Your
This
Uber
is
Eats
the
delivery
man.
driver has arrived looking guy.
2 stars. 2 stars.
Yeah, you give me 2 stars for sure. Anyway, Raptors
Yes.
got all 3 stars in their 123 to 121 win over the Atlanta Hawks. That took place over the weekend. A couple of notes from this game as we transition to the Raptors and less about my own embarrassment. But
I'll keep going all day on that, my friend.
oh, Dory, that's why you're here. No one, people got to knock me down a peg, honestly.
Just kidding. You're lovely.
37 assists by the team. Raptors winning that one. Close game at the end there. A couple of big plays to secure the result. I think the big thing coming out of this is just Gradey Dick is really finding his rhythm. He had 18 points off the bench in this win. He got, I believe, my 3rd star for the game. Just some stats, 9.3 points per game since he returned from his last 9-5 stint. 50% shooting from the field, 43% from 3. Lindsay, I wanted to ask you, what is behind Gradey Dick's sudden growth?
Us. It's absolutely
okay.
us.
Okay. All right, we're back to this. All right, let's go.
No. I think a big part of it was the conditioning he did with the 905. I saw the stints that he had with them. They were working really hard on, him being more aggressive, whether it be offensive or defensively. And his shot is finally starting to drop, which I think everybody's talking about. You're throwing those stats out there. And that he just seems more comfortable. I'm pretty sure Darko even said that it looks like Gradey is more comfortable. Like at the beginning, I think, he got that run, which scared everyone. They're like, what was this pick? What is happening here? And then he went to the 905. The beginning wasn't the best showing for him. We all know that. It was highly documented. But
there's a lot of questions of like, hey, yo, did you figure out how to shoot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did someone change your shot? Which is the subtext is, why can't you make shots? The one thing you were built to do. So, yeah, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, and he said there just was a bit of an adjustment with the shot going from college ball to the NBA, and maybe he didn't, catch on as fast as people thought that he would, but he went, he conditioned, he took more shots, he was more aggressive, and you're really seeing that now kind of translate to the NBA game because we see it sometimes all the time. There'll be players in the G League where their game does not translate to an actual NBA, game, but it's been great, and we're seeing it from Gradey, and I think a lot of people are happy and toning down on all of the hate that he's getting, but that's clearly a huge part. I think his G League stint was a big part of it, and then he's just feeling so much more comfortable. Yeah,
I'm so happy for him because I think, especially for a rookie, right, you want to look back on your first season, and it's a whirlwind no matter what, right? And you want to be able to hold on to something and say, this was the part that I was able to show, and this is the part that's going to validate me and give me that confidence to keep working and also to build off of that. And I think the last 15 games here since he's come back, he has really looked exactly like the type of player that people were expecting. I mean, if he did this at the start of the season, right, I think there's none of these other conversations or concerns. But look, it's not necessarily about when he does it. It's just about if he gets that sort of run of form. And yeah, I mean, he's really shooting the ball really well. We're seeing him move, cut, get into the mid range, change up his varieties. Yeah, and he's been good in the corners. We've seen a couple games, for example. There's one against Philadelphia where he made like 4 corner threes. But it's like, can you extend your range to the top of the floor? Are you able to shoot off of movement? Are you able to catch a shoot in transition? He's shown more and more of that. And it's been one of the best parts of watching these last couple of games here with the Raptors in the season. And there's still 25 more games somehow. But like, you are looking to see the improvement from these young guys. And I'm so happy for Gradey that he's found something that he can build off of. Like, I can't wait to see what he does against the Pacers tonight, So, you obviously cover the 905 extensively as their sideline reporter. What did Gradey look like when he went to the 905? Let's be real about this.
Sorry, Gradey. Yeah. No, everyone has seen the video. He looked a little nervous, uneasy with his first stint there, but like I keep having to remember he is a rookie. There are some rookies that they immediately dominate on all levels. That wasn't the case for Gradey. He did not look like he was comfortable. His shot was a little bit shaky. He didn't switch it. It just didn't seem like he was jiving with either system. It is the same system from the 905 or the Raptors. It just seemed uneasy. And then he wasn't being aggressive. He was definitely timid. But obviously any player that goes from the NBA to the G League players, they're going to go at you so much harder.
Right. There's a target on your back.
There's a target on your back. And so it definitely shut him down the first couple of games he had there. He had pretty much no impact on the stat sheet or the game.
Mm-hmm.
Then that second stint, and he had a couple more NBA games. He was having more practices with the Raptors, working with more coaches. It was a totally different player, I thought.
Okay.
And it's just, like you mentioned, it's great to see him excel. He has the talent. Mm-hmm. There's obviously a lot of work, and there's room for growth, which is great. We all love that storyline of development in the Raptors. But his shot is just amazing. But defensively, I want to know your thoughts maybe on how do you feel that he's been defensively?
Look, I like the fact that he leads the Raptors team in charges. I think he's at 5 for the team lead. But teams definitely go at him to a certain degree. I like that he scraps it and competes. He doesn't really take plays off. Sometimes you'll definitely see there's a strength disadvantage for him, and that's why there's been so much focus this year for him, even in season, in terms of improving his conditioning and development. And again, this is why it's so good to have both the downs and the ups to sort of inform you of sort of what to do with the time, because we won't see the Raptors in the summertime outside of a couple of YouTube runs of Rico Hines runs. But what you need to understand is they're working all throughout the summer, and they need some guidance and some touch points to get to. And I think conditioning and improved strength is a big thing. And that's something that they talked about at practice when they practiced at Butler University over the weekend. So Gradey talking about himself, and also Darko talking about his conditioning of late.
And then, of course, there's always that transition for any rookie to get more physical, to match an NBA player's type body. How have you felt like your strength and conditioning has translated to just being maybe a little bit more steady on the court, or have you noticed any significant difference with that?
Of course. I think Johnny, in the weight room is, really, improved me, tremendously. And just the way I feel and, my core strength to, be in a defensive stance for the whole time that I'm in, and, take contact and not always just, fall right over. And, just hold my ground in a way. And, I'm 20 years old, so I feel like I always have room to grow and get bigger and stronger and, faster. So it's one of those things where I just got to come in every day and be consistent with my work and just improve and not stay the same. Just try to upgrade any chance I get.
And then that actually leads me to my last question, I promise. Coach Darko has pointed it out. He's very happy with your offense as it's been clicking, of course, but defensively he's pointed out maybe some gaps, if you want to call it that. Where have you noticed that, you want to improve the most defensively?
Just being, in the right position, having the knowledge, and, I feel like you can always get better at getting bigger, faster, stronger, like I said. And when you do that and be consistent in the weight room, then you're just going to feel a lot better. I already feel a lot better, from the start of the season of being out there and, guarding different guys and, being quicker to beat them to the spots and whatnot. Try to draw charges, whatever can really help the defense or the team. So it's one of those things where, I feel like you just get better with, my body, and it helps me be out there and be prepared.
Okay, so this is a question I've asked Gradey as well at one of those aforementioned practices where Masai roasted me. But, what exactly did he do with the 905 in terms of the conditioning? Even something like that where it's he could have done that here with the Raptors as well. But, I mean, I think you were up closer to the situation. Was there anything noticeably different? Did he go down to 905 with a specific assignment of, get more of this in?
I think, well, the one thing is obviously he got way more minutes, significantly more minutes.
Right.
And another thing he looked like he worked on was his facial hair. I'm sorry, I have to bring that up.
I thought he was Team Smooth.
Yeah, that borderline. We'll leave it. Someone can go comment on that. I don't know what's happening, but hey, for real, he just got so much more minutes. I know that they were trying to get him to be more physical, get more runs, but other than that, there was so much of it behind closed doors that we never got access to. But a lot of it, he meant core strength, and that was a big part of that assignment that he had, and he's spoken about multiple times. But it is nice to see something actually pay off when they put in that work.
Absolutely.
And it's getting there, because we've seen so many players where nothing happens.
Yeah, that we're number 2 on the team. I think I'm just really happy for Gradey, and I think it's showcasing the style of. Well, first off, I think his style of play is going to be really adaptable to pretty much any team in the NBA nowadays. There's a lot of shooting, movement, those kind of guys who you can combine those two elements and they can get their shot off and actually shoot at a high volume. Not even to compare to a Matt Thomas, for example. And this is obviously because they're both white shooters. But Matt Thomas was too small to get his shot off. And so when he came into the game, he might give you every time he shoots a 3, it's a 50% shot, but he only takes 2 of them. You know what I mean? Like, you can see Gradey gets in the game and he gets a variety of them. I think part of that is because he's bigger and he's taller, but he also hunts it in a better way. And so, yeah, I just think it fits Darko's style, his system, right? A lot of his buckets are assisted. He's not getting his own shot, which is good, though. But it helps within the flow, the team. The second unit, I thought in particular against the Hawks was really, really good. So I don't know. I mean, they've won 2 now, both against teams that they're chasing directly in the standings.
Get ready for the pizza party.
So I'm asking, like, do you actually want this pizza party? Like, do you want the play-in? Is the bigger question.
Oh, hold on, a couple things.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
One, if they win tonight, I am bringing pizza, and we will be eating it with our chunky soup at the same time.
Absolutely.
It will be a delicious mixture of foods. I want the pizza party. I want this to happen. But for Gradey, for a moment, a storyline I was curious about with him, which is kind of away from the court, there was so much hype and pressure put around him at, what was he, like 13th pick?
Yeah.
He came out with the splash with his draft day suit, you know, all of Canada loving him. And then there's that moment.
He's in every ad, too.
He's in every ad. And, like, he's very active on social media, and like he has a different kind of following. Like,
he's got a podcast.
He's got a podcast as a rookie that wasn't within the first 10 picks. Like,
I told him that day, every white shooter got to have a podcast.
I was there for that.
I don't know. I was on a different energy that day. I don't know what was going on.
I remember being like,
he laughed,
and then said, "It's harder than it looks." Like, yeah, it is harder than it looks.
Gradey Dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at All-Star Game, Keisha from Windsor, Ontario, there was actually a lot that were, sorry, Chris is agreeing.
No,
with
he's
the
just nodding. Yeah, he's like, yeah,
such a good
spitting.
point you're going to make. I love this so much, Lindsay. She came up to me and she was just talking about the Raptors, and it was like her and her family and a couple friends, and she goes to me, "When did you know this season was a bust?" I'm like, "What?" Because you know me, I'm annoyingly optimistic. Like, I love setting myself up for like a lunch bag letdown and just all of the sadness following sports teams. I'm like, what do you mean it's a bust?
It's part of the conceit. It really is.
Yeah,
you got to emotionally invest.
Emotional damage.
That's the theme of the whole year.
And so it's like, what do you mean it's a bust? And she said, like, so I threw the question back at her. I'm like, well, when was it a bust for you? She's like, the first game of the season. I'm like,
what?
Oh,
they won.
What?
They beat the Timberwolves. It turned out to be great.
Like, and you didn't know about Darko and some of the other players coming in. Like, I knew I wasn't excited for this season the moment they signed Dennis Schroeder. I'm like, what are you doing with this? I knew from multiple teams that he's been on, this guy is not good vibes. It's bad guy vibes. He doesn't have a history of being the most team player, and I know he's a friend of the show, but I'll be honest.
Dennis Schroeder coming later this week, hopefully.
Hi, Dennis. Don't love you. But anyways, I still believe, because come on, they're only 24 back of the first place in the East.
Oh, are we 24 games back?
They're only 4 games back of the play-in spot, which is the Hawks, which Trae Young is out for a while. Like, I can still believe. And hey, when you look at last season with the play-in, Miami Heat, they lost the first game, then won the second game, and they went to the finals. This team can overachieve, baby.
This is the Amy Audibert friendship speaking.
No, this is called I like to believe in sometimes things that are not believable. But hey, if the Heat can do that, why can't the Raptors do it? They have a bunch of new faces.
They do.
So
it's a lot of new
I'm
guys,
just saying, let the push begin. Finals bound, baby. Let's go.
Okay, you know what? I would love nothing more if the Raptors made a Heat culture style run. All right, but right now they're 4 games back of Atlanta for the 10th spot. So then you would have to play on the road
for what, baby?
The right to then play in again. You have to win 2 times on the road to sort of make it all the way into the playoff proper. They're 4 games back of Atlanta. They're 3.5 games back of Brooklyn. I'm not as worried about Brooklyn if I'm trying to ascend the standings. Brooklyn, have you seen Brooklyn recently?
Dennis Schroeder's on the team.
Oh, come on. That's not, the problems existed before, and they will.
I know, I'm kidding. Brooklyn, there. Yikes.
You sweet.
Nah, she's salty right now.
I'm zesty.
4 games back of Atlanta. I honestly, the Atlanta one, Trae, so the record is now 6-9 without Trae in the lineup, I believe, but they did win over the weekend and actually played really good defense, which was like, surprise, surprise. They actually held the team to like, I think, what was the point? I think they held a team to 92 points without Trae in the lineup, which is jokes because they're literally allowing like 120 when he plays. Let me look up the exact number.
While you look that up, I can't wait. The anticipating for me and anyone watching or listening is, do you still believe? Did you believe?
Did I believe?
Sorry,
they held the Orlando Magic.
They
held the Orlando Magic to 92 points. My goodness, man. Atlanta literally gives up 120 per game. Did I believe? I think I believed that if they were able to come in and be a really strong defense, which I think based on their previous personnel was realistic, and got to the league average on offense, that they can be like a slightly above average team. That was what I thought. But then coming into the year, it was very evident that this team was not going to be able to replicate anything that they did defensively in the previous years. To be honest, a lot of games they just didn't look that prepared, or like they didn't play that together. And of course, we saw the team get dismantled. So once they dismantled the team, first with OG, and I honestly, even with the OG trade, I'm like, I kind of low key like, there was only like 2 weeks there, but I'm like, I kind of like this team. Like I was like, they got multiple attackers. They beat Cleveland. They beat they competed against Sacramento and beat Memphis. They got robbed in LA. And I feel like that game after they got robbed in LA just like completely took all the wind out of their sails. They lost the rest of the games on that road trip. But still, like, I was like, okay, maybe if they keep the team together, Pascal sticks around. Pascal and Scotty were both playing really well at that time. And then Pascal got moved, and I was like, all right, this is it. Like,
it's definitely a no for me, dog.
Yeah, so, yeah.
What?
That's when the last little bit of, like, hope. And that's not to mean that, like, I don't hope in the young guys. I do. Like, what Quickly's doing recently is amazing. RJ, I thought he's come in from day one and shown a really good approach. And I love the fact that he gets 10 left-handed layups a game. No, I'm serious. That's RJ Barrett's highlight reel is just the left-handed layups and a couple of dunks in there too. I love those things. I love seeing Scotty continue to take his game to the next level. And quietly, I think he's also balanced himself out where it's like start of the season he was scoring a lot because of the three. Yeah. Three's not dropping for him as much right now, but he's finding other ways to contribute and still score. And this is with him clearly as the definitive number one. That's a huge development. Gradey coming on strong. Those things are good for me. But, I mean, ultimately, am I at the point where I'm like, I expect this team to win 9 out? No. I expect them to just show me development more than anything else.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this team. There was multiple months I was not on the bandwagon to cover them. Some of it was really bad basketball, I'm being honest.
Did you have a favorite loss?
All of them? No. How dare you ask me to try to relive a favorite loss?
Sorry.
Did you have a favorite loss? What? That's an interesting question.
The Pistons game, I think I was the maddest about.
Oh,
that Pistons game was nasty.
That's still too soon to talk about, honestly. It's still too soon.
They lost that game, by the way, on the heels of a second half. That was second half of back-to-back. The night before that, they were in Boston. Boston rested Tatum, Porzingis, and Horford. They started Sam Hauser and Luke Cornett against us. And the Raptors fell down by 20 in the first half. Again, just a complete no-show
I remember.
Defensively.
You're just hurting everyone right now.
And then at the very end there, this is OG's last play as a Raptor. He gambles for a steal against Jaylen Brown, completely misses it. Jaylen Brown gets into the lane, throws a lob to Luke Cornett for the game winner. We got a Luke Cornett game winner against us this year.
Yeah.
So maybe my hope died a little bit earlier than that, but yeah. It's been a tough one.
It didn't come back a little bit because for me, having Kelly Olynyk, RJ Barrett, just first time drinking, for those listening, will just drop water all over himself. I ain't letting that slide.
It's all good.
You're so excited to hear about me talk about all the new players because 7 or 8 new faces? I'm excited for them all. Kelly Olynyk finally getting on here. RJ Barrett, the potential that they could have. I don't, there could be a little run and them building that chemistry. Huge fan of Bruce Brown. You had Ochai Agbaji on there. IQ. I am very excited for the new faces that have been added to the squad and the potential. Will they reach it by the time the end of the season is done? I'm not sure.
I think that's the big thing where it's like, even them winning the last 2 games, and I think that defensively they really showed up the last 2 games, even though they gave up 121 to Atlanta. But I thought defensively they did well overall.
Gary had some phenomenal.
Gary played great defense against Trey, and I feel like Gary's kind of the loss because he was big on both of these wins. But I think for this team, it's the excitement is about seeing this group figure out in real time. Okay, how do we win? What plays do we have? What's our rotation? What's our style of play? And I think there's not that same pressure as there was at the start of the season. The pressure in the sense that, again, if they lose, I don't care as much about it. But what I really care about is seeing how they play together and how they try to fight each game. And you're seeing, a new group try to figure that out. And hopefully they get out of those woods. But in the meantime, you're starting with this group. And I'm actually pretty excited to watch them tonight. So we're going to take a break. I've been your host, Willow. You're listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new Chunky Spicy Soup. When we come back, Lindsay did a great interview with Bruce Brown. So let's
overselling it. Love it.
No, I actually really enjoyed it. So let's hear and watch the interview after this break. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wayne Lou. This is why you got to listen to the show or watch the show live, because you don't get to hear the musical interludes that DJ Derek plays, all right? Because, you know, you'll never walk alone, you know, on these momentous occasions, you know, when you win the coveted Carabao Cup for, I believe, the 10th time now in franchise history, maybe 10 or 13. One of those two, you know, no big deal. Most in England. Yeah, you know, you gotta play the official song of Liverpool FC. Congratulations once again to everyone involved. Yeah, basically they put in like a whole bunch of like 18-year-olds and they beat like a team that has essentially spent $1 billion in the final, which is actually hilarious. But no one cares about this. Don't worry, I know. Anyway, Lindsay Dunn, who is joining us for the next 2 days here to roast me mostly. Lindsay actually did a great interview, as she always does, down at practice with Bruce Brown of the Toronto Raptors. So, Lindsay, before we actually show the clip, what should people expect to see? And, yeah, you know, why did you want to play this?
I think that he's not getting enough love.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people know about Bruce Brown kind of off the court or even the personality he
Right.
brings to the court. So this was before All-Star Game that I interviewed him. And just kind of the media and all of the talk surrounding him coming to the Raptors in that trade with Pascal. He was traded here. And then I was nervous to interview him even after that because, hey, he probably was going to get traded again, which was all the storylines surrounding him.
For sure.
Well, what? I want him to stay because his personality is so great. He brings such a good energy. He's a great basketball player. So I waited until the trade deadline was done, let the dust settle. And then when I was interviewing Garrett Temple in the locker room one day, I hear country music blasting. Like it is blaring. And I've never heard country music played in the Raptors locker room or an NBA locker room. Like once I heard Jimmy Butler singing it on his own.
Right.
But I was like, this is a new take. And I wanted to talk to him a little bit about who Bruce Brown is and what the last month of his life was like.
Okay. So without further ado, this is Lindsay's conversation with Bruce Brown. Let's get to know him a little better.
What has the last month been like for you?
It's been crazy being traded, not knowing I was going to get traded until like a day before. So it's, coming to Canada, meet new teammates, new offense, new defensive scheme. So it's been a little hectic. And then the trade deadline, which was more hectic.
Yeah, and all the news that was happening there. I know you're in a group chat with Garrett. Garrett Temple tells me that you golfed together and that you beat him. How often were you beating him on the course?
We played once, but every time we play, I'll probably win. So the more we play, the warmer it gets outside, we'll play a lot more, and I'll probably win every time.
Okay, I like that confidence.
Yeah.
I believe you. Something else that has developed in the last month that you've been here, last couple of weeks, has been your mustache. And I'll be honest, I've never got more emails this year than about needing to ask you about it. People want to know what's the inspiration behind it. What do you officially call this style?
I don't call it anything. Maybe like the chops or something, but I really just switched it up. Usually I go mustache, and I was gonna go mustache again because I had my beard. I shaved it off, but I was like, I've never done this before. Let me try it.
How are you feeling about it?
I think I like it. It's very different. I had to get used to it every time I looked in the mirror when I first did it, but I think it's fine.
Okay, it kind of goes with like the whole cowboy vibe, the vibe. We know you love country music.
Yep.
I'll be honest, it's the first time in 10 years, I think actually ever, I've heard country music in the Raptors locker room. What is your kind of pre and post playlist? I know you had some Luke Combs on there.
Yeah, I'm big Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, Thomas Rhett, Florida Georgia Line, Tyler Hubbard, who was with Florida Georgia Line, who's just split. So I kind of mix it through a lot of people, but I'm big Luke Combs and Thomas Rhett.
Are you trying to get the whole crew into the country music? Like, I also hear you belting it out. So, like, what do you feel your vocal skills are at, too?
Vocal skills are not very good, but I try, I guess. Some people, like, I think Scotty likes some, Grady likes country, so I'll try to get more people into it. It's not bad. Garrett likes it, I think, now.
And then your pregame fits, I know also conversation, we'll get that in a moment, but I heard that you were learning guitar. Are you still learning how to play guitar, or are you slaying it?
No, I kind of stopped just because I'm here now, so I got to find a new place to go. I don't have a guitar with me, but at some point I will learn.
I think you're going to get 1,000 emails from country people in Toronto. Be like, here's a guitar for you. When it comes back to your tunnel fits, how many cowboy hats do you have, and did you bring them to Toronto?
I brought 3 here.
Like, this is accessible.
But I have, I think, a total of, like,
more.
cowboy hats.
When you're not a cowboy.
10 maybe. And then the straight brim, I have, like, 8 or 9, maybe 10.
Styling. Well, I wanted to give you a welcome to Canada, welcome to Toronto gift, maybe for a potential tunnel fit for you.
Yep.
So I was wondering if potentially this is something you might rock.
I could see. can see what it's talking about. I don't know if it's a little small, but we can figure it out.
With the stash, yeehaw right there.
No, we can figure it out though.
All right. First off, Lindsay, that was hilarious, and I'm happy we got to know a little bit more about Bruce Brown, Officer Brown, as I like to say, with that stash. What you missed out, again, if you're not watching it, is you actually walk him through the little gift. Why'd you decide to give him a little gift at the end there?
I brought a tiny little cowboy hat, which I brought here to set, that I could put on Chris Webber, or if you want to rock this at any point. Actually, let's see. I feel like you might break this.
Oh my God.
This is hilarious. This is why you also need to.
This is as far as you can get, man. Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say the most country thing you think might happen. I'm also nervous for you to even attempt it.
I did have a lot of white roommates in McMaster. Hold on, what did I say? What did they say? Yeah, I'll pull up to the party tonight. I'm real Ferda. You know Ferda? No? All right, no? All right, sorry, I'm not familiar with this culture.
This is amazing.
Actually, I'm not.
Giddy Up would have been something I would have went with.
Giddy Up, yeah.
Giddy Up.
Yeah, I don't know about that
Saddle Up, anything.
What's the place in Waterloo? Phil's? I've been to Phil's once. I did not enjoy it, but
this is a whole other episode that is going to happen. But
goodness.
For those listening, it was a really tiny cowboy hat. And for those that, you're in the cowboy community, you could say that or whatever it may be. Like, I'm originally from Saskatchewan. I spend a lot of my summers on farms and all that stuff.
Yeah. Ranching?
For, somebody that is not a rancher or a cowboy or in a country music group, to have more than, like, say, 2 cowboy hats is excessive.
Okay.
And I thought that was fantastic that he has, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
And a bunch of flat-brimmed hats. He just loves it. Like, he's originally
what's a flat brim one? Is it just like, instead of it like going up on the sides, it's
it's just
straight all the way
around, like a giant.
I've seen DeAndre Jordan wear those.
You know what? I'll bring one tomorrow to see if it'll fit on your head, and we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Because my husband's in a country music band called the Holy Gamblers, and he has both styles that we can try to get you to rock tomorrow, and then you can work on your country lingo so that when you talk to Bruce,
you know what? That's a good homework assignment tomorrow. I'm gonna hit you with a country phrase tomorrow. I'm sorry about Ferda. I think people,
I don't even know what you're saying right now. Like,
it's
it
Ferda
sounds like
boys.
you're farting out your mouth.
Okay.
I know that is not a ladylike thing to say, but what are you saying?
No, people don't know Ferda? All right.
I'm also not hip. But yeah, so it was just a tiny cowboy hat. I saw it. It is my dog's. We talked after, and he wanted to keep it to give it to his dog. I'm like, no, that's my dog Sophia's. And I'm giving it back to her.
Nice.
But, like, he was such a great sport. For those that, didn't see the interaction, I didn't ask him to put it on. He was just relaxed. It actually was recorded after they didn't have such a great game the night before. And I just thought it really showed his personality. He's a good person. He has, what they say, chill vibes.
He does seem to have good vibes.
And
absolutely.
One other thing is that he also would like to ride a horse. He has yet to ride a horse. So if
is this like a Jokic influence? Or?
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
And so
but Jokic sits in the chariot. He doesn't actually ride the horse itself. Like, does he wants to be on top of the horse.
Yeah, like I think he wants to be a cowboy. He's always
pork belly.
What?
What?
Yeah.
This is great. Anyways, I can't wait for your cowboy phrase tomorrow.
No, I can't wait. I'm actually gonna set a reminder on my phone during the break so that I come up with something tomorrow. I'm gonna surprise you with something, because I think last time you introduced the phrase 3 sheets to the wind, which again, like, that for me, it was like, what is that? You know what I mean? And you explained that it's essentially what happens after you drink 2 Cokes.
I have so much energy right now. I'm trying not to, like, run around the studio dancing.
Yeah, you're like 2 sheets to the wind right now, but all 3 is gonna have to wait. But
wild.
So coming out of that conversation, I actually want to ask you a couple things, because I love doing media talk in particular, and I wanted to know, because I always really enjoy watching the interviews that you do, whether that's with musicians or with athletes. Obviously, you did some stuff with Scotty, and you did with Chris Boucher. They were bowling, 5-pin bowling, which is kind of interesting. I see you interview the Blue Jays. You just came back from spring training. Like, you're literally everywhere. The Leafs, you're going to go there tomorrow. How do you come up with ideas? Like, what's your process for, like, okay, I'm going to go talk to Bruce Brown. That's the first idea, and then I'm going to talk to them about these specific subjects. Like, walk me through your process.
Well, I do want to talk to them a lot about basketball, and then I figured everybody in the world is asking them a lot of the same questions, and I just kind of want to know what makes them tick. Same thing for you. Like, what is making you happy outside of your job or keeps you going? And
my scooter.
Yeah, your scooter. And talking
scooting.
to Masai, scooting around. Best time ever.
It's my guy.
Bruce, when I heard that country music playing in the locker room, it was so foreign for me to hear it in there. And he was just loving it, singing Luke Combs. I'm like, what?
Were the teammates loving it? Like,
no.
Oh, okay, good.
They were not. They were not loving it. I was interviewing Garrett Temple, and the audio was so loud of Bruce singing over it that I'm like, I can't use this. And I asked her, like, what's happening here? Do you like this? He's like, well, some of the lyrics aren't bad if you really listen to it. And then in my mind, I'm like, the ones where they're not singing about trucks or dirt roads and all the stereotypical country songs, I can agree with. But in that moment, I was like, I need to talk to him. I just saw the energy that he brought and kind of the people around him, how they reacted to him. And then I saw months before that from the Indiana Pacers social account, him rocking the overalls with no shirt underneath, cowboy boots and a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Like, who is this? This is hilarious because he's got his own personality, and I'm all for people doing that. And that's just kind of where I went from there. And then sometimes my mind gives me crazy thoughts. I'm like, I'm going to ask this, and let's see how it goes.
Honestly, sometimes the best question you ask is when you give into the crazy thoughts in the back of your brain. I do feel like, because like for this, podcast audience, for example, it's like when I asked Yuta, like, yo, do you want to get ramen with me? Because we're both Asian. And like, that's a crazy thought I had in the back of my mind. And I just said it to him, and it became a running joke, and we have still yet to do that. But
Still time.
So I think there's a question here, which is,
why did they let me do it?
No. But how do you get players to open up to you? Like, how, you mentioned that, like, you see the personality, but I think a lot of times when athletes get interviewed, they don't feel as comfortable, or they just aren't as willing to share their personality. And of course, you can't force them to do that. And I'm sure, there are some bricks in your catalog, but in general, like when I watch them, like every single person you're talking to is engaged and actually showcasing a bit of themselves. When I watch them, I get a better sense of their vibe or where they come from. So yeah, what is your process for getting players to open up to you?
Give them gifts. I'm kidding. That was the first time.
That's actually not a bad idea.
That's the first time I've handed it over, and it was just a kind of an impromptu last.
Well, you already gave me
thing,
gifts too. I'm putting it on top of my Pacers scarf now.
Yes. Yeah. No, you don't get to keep that hat again. If I don't give it to Bruce Brown, you don't get to keep it.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm just kidding. Thanks for saying that. I don't know how to answer that or what to say. I don't know, because I don't want to insult people that do interviews to say that they're not engaged when they're talking to somebody. I think sometimes it's just they're happy. I'm sure, like, when you ask them questions that are not about the sport, they just will open up usually. I think
that is true.
Maybe that's it. And sometimes
don't talk about work as much.
Yeah, and I will. Like, I sprinkle work questions in there.
Sure,
and either I start with it, I'll go in the middle, or at the end, if they had like an absolute dog poo game, I leave that for then. See, censored myself. You don't need to bleep me on here.
No, that's not my job. That's Derek's job.
And he's also DJ Derek. But I don't know. Thanks for saying that. That's a terrible answer that I'm giving you. But I don't know. I just really enjoy. I think sometimes they appreciate, which I know you do a lot, like deep research. Like, even if they're like, oh, country music doesn't seem like a lot. Like, I did a lot of research before the interview. A lot of it I cut out because we don't need to hear me talk to Bruce for like 97 minutes. But yeah. And then sometimes it's just some players are more open to opening up about life away from the game.
Absolutely. I think especially for the NBA players that have come through Toronto, that I've left the majority of my interviews. But like, I noticed that, like, basically from like 24, 25 onwards, they've been in the league, they got a second contract. They open up a lot more, and they're much more willing to showcase who they are. Sometimes you can't force it with some of these younger guys. They're just walking around anxious all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's probably not going to be that great of an interview, but it's like, that's up to you to know the behind the scenes of like who to go to and things like that. So Bruce obviously is a great guy to go to. This is a question that you wanted me to ask you, but related to this, what's the worst question you ever asked in a press conference?
Well, it's not the worst question I've ever asked, which I've asked a lot of dumb questions that you've been witness to.
I don't know if I have, to be honest. You got some good questions.
No, there's one that it still just makes me sweat because it was so cringy. I had to ask the former head coach of the Toronto Raptors at a coaching clinic. I was like, who is your inspiration as a coach? Like, it was just so cheesy. And it's just because I needed a clip and I wanted to vomit asking that, which, like, what
did this person with the initials
I don't
say?
even remember, because when they were answering, I'm like, oh, my skin is crawling.
Okay.
Like, and I know that doesn't sound that bad, but in the moment, like, they're peppering him about different questions.
Yeah,
and
actually, I remember this one. Yeah, I was there for that.
I was so, and like one of the other media members, Mike Ganter, who's a doll, grilled me about it. I'm like, you absolutely should grill me for asking that question. It was so uncomfortable. But this happened at NBA All-Star Weekend. For those who've, never watched some of the media scrums or seen any behind-the-scene footage, it is a free-for-all. It is a circus. It is a zoo.
Like a convention, right? Like they all sit at their desk and then people just walk up and roll up.
Yeah, and like the desk, they're sitting up here. There's like at least a 2 to 3 foot gap between you and the people
there's
speaking.
like a moat?
And then, a moat.
They sit in a castle and there's a moat
and then,
around
they
them.
have the guards who are the PR guards walking around to be like, you cannot get in here.
Phil's just like putting on a stink face like, don't you dare ask a follow-up question.
I felt for Phil for this one because it involves Scotty Barnes. And so, and then you're in front of like a barricade and you're just like, hello, can you please try to hear me ask a question? And in general, like this is me yelling. I'm a very soft-spoken person, which sucks for this industry. But so Scotty's at the podium. Can't remember who's to the left. I think to the right might have been Tyrese Maxey. And there's a bunch of media everywhere. Like it was so crazy. There was a girl on someone's shoulders trying to ask questions to one of the players. It's a free-for-all.
It certainly sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm like, and I don't mind it. Like,
I now understand why the moat is there, actually. I'm happy they had this.
Yeah, and it's just for the media day portion. Post-game, it's not that way. They sit at a table, and it's also very weird. But so Scotty's there. He's answering questions. We're just asking like, hey, it's your first All-Star game participation as a player. Like, how are you feeling? This guy rolls in with his iPhone. He's like, Scotty, what historical figure would you like to see play in the NBA? That is the worst question. It didn't mean athlete. Like any historical figure.
You're like, yo, would you want to run a pick and roll with Abe Lincoln?
Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
No matter who he would have said, he would have been canceled. It would have been the wrong answer. Like, well, you think of some names he could have put out there and or panicked answered with something.
Yeah.
And you're like, what historical figure do you want to see in the NBA? And it's just, honestly, I hate that question so much. He clearly didn't have an answer, but
I was going to say, did he have an answer?
He said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which Scotty answers a lot too, but I just remember like I broke out into sweat.
what are you supposed to say?
What are you supposed to say that you're not going to get canceled for saying a certain name?
Well, I think this is obviously there's totally different levels of access.
Views. Yeah.
No, exactly, right. But like a lot of people roll up to these athletes, and because they're really famous, they almost like they got a very short opportunity to talk to them. You like shock them in a way, and that is one approach I've seen a lot happen. Right, a guy pulls up and just like shocks you, and whatever response comes out of that is something that can like become content. And whatever, maybe the success of content isn't how much people enjoy it, it's just how much people share it, which is a problem unto itself. But like that's totally different level of access. So like you talked to Bruce Brown, got to know him a little bit, got the audience to know him a little bit, and then at the very end he put on a little hat.
Yeah.
Like
he looked great in the hat, and I hope he wears it for a tunnel fit. I'll let him borrow it.
I
thought he rocked
it. You can't just
it.
let him have this hat. Where'd you even get this hat, man?
It's from a pet store in Liberty Village in Toronto, everyone.
I think you can get this again.
I can. You know what? I'll bring it back. I'll put it in his locker stall and be like, sorry, this is
dog hair on this?
Probably.
Put this on my head? Okay, all right.
Maybe that's your hair. You just don't know about it?
I don't think so. But
I just thought that was a wild question. I understand it's for the views in that, and you may think I'm overselling it, but it's just the setting that it was in. It was so inappropriate and weird, and like there was just no way for anyone to answer that question, I think, in a way that would have been fine. But it was for the views. Good for them for coming, getting that, yelling at him. But I actually felt bad for him in the moment, which normally I don't, because like they're professional athletes. They get paid millions of dollars.
This is a big part of
it
their
was
job.
super uncomfortable.
No, I think it kind of, not in the exact same way, but Katie had this interaction with fans over the weekend where they were like swearing at him. And, he talked about it and he's like, actually, I don't want these people to be ejected. I want to like give them essentially a human interaction, one-on-one, be like, hey, don't treat me like this. Come in with some respect. You know what I mean? And he talked about it in terms of just like, these athletes are not like animals in a zoo where you prod them kind of thing. Like that is obviously we all know that conceptually, but some people don't move that way with their actions. And that to me is like, whether it's your fan or media, whatever, a person, that's just not how two people interact. But I like the interaction that you had with Bruce. So that's how I'm going to pivot towards this break. Been your host, Will Lou. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new Chunky Spicy Soup. When we come back, we're getting in front of the program, Gary Trent Sr. on the program. That's right. Can't wait to check in on which fur coat he's wearing via Zoom. Welcome back to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wayne Blue. Continue to be joined by Lindsay Dunn. What should I intro you as for tomorrow?
Linsanity.
Linsanity. Okay.
Can you?
Linsanity. Yeah.
2.0.
All right.
I've reached
Adam
my
Linsanity.
prime right now, so Linsanity 2.0.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I will definitely do that for the next break and beyond because you'll be back tomorrow as well. We are working to get Gary Trent Sr. on the line. But in the meantime, Lindsay, what are you up to these days? You know, because one of my favorite games is just like, where in the world is Lindsay Dunn? And last week, let's say you were in Dunedin, Florida, for the Toronto Blue Jays. They are coming back, I suppose. I don't know. It's February.
Yeah, spring training. And so they're in spring training Grapefruit League games right now.
This is winter, man.
I know. Whoa, it was spring there. Let me tell you,
daylight savings right now.
First world problem alert happened to me when I was there. So this was my first time ever covering Blue Jays spring training, which was a highlight. Like I was just full on in nerd heaven.
You got such a great tan.
You know what? Thank you. Yeah. So for those listening who've never seen a photo of me, I am a very naturally fair person. I think that is the appropriate way to say this, like fair complexion. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
So one of my coworkers, like I'm such a fair complexion. Their nickname for me is Casper Spice.
Oof.
So yeah, that's where we're at. So we are in Dunedin, and it's
they call you White Spice like salt and pepper. All right.
Oh yeah, because I'm translucent half the time, and they can't.
I'm
find
white.
me.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm white.
Yeah.
WHIT.
That's me.
Derek probably has a good reason to play that drop. I know he's grinning upstairs.
You're welcome,
man.
Derek. DJ Derek. So. Spring training, like I wear sunscreen all year round because I will burn with the reflection off the sun to the snow. It has happened. So I'm at spring training and it's 20 degrees the first day, and I lathered it on, and I'm outside talking to I think it was Justin Turner, and then later one of the security guards were like, "Oh, your legs." I'm like, What's happening? They're like, you burnt the back of your legs.
Oh my!
Who put sunscreen behind their knees? Not me. Didn't know that was a thing. But I can tell you, I'm in pain right now because to bend my legs, to walk, to do anything, like they are red hot burnt.
Wow!
And I burnt my scalp. So when I was showering today, I was yelling like,
I have these problems, man.
Wow. But really, I was swearing. I can't say what words I was saying when I was showering because like the water hurt. To brush my hair was
God. Oh, I'm so sorry.
painful. No, it was like first world problems. It was
That's
awesome.
Not first world problems. This is.
I did not know to put it here and then on the back of my legs. But other
Wait, how
than
do you even put sunscreen on your hair? Like
there's a spray. So like just basically the spray sunscreen. I usually will put it on my head and my ears and that because that's what happens when you're Casper the Ghost.
That's wild. Wow.
But yeah, it was fun. So I was there last week, and then at the beginning of the week, I was in Indiana, and I had such fun traveling to all these places.
Please don't tell me you put on sunscreen in Indiana.
I thought about it. No, it was cold. I didn't even bring a winter coat, and I jinxed them to the people of Indiana. I am sorry because when I landed, it was like, oh, they don't have snow here. I love this state. 1 hour later, the best snowstorm they've had all flipping winter.
Yeah.
I don't have a winter coat, and I'm running around trying to go to different places. I'm like, this is awful, but also awesome because I was covering All-Star. But I was working with Alvin from Sportsnet. He was a camera operator, and the whole time, like, this is the coldest day of my life, but I'm having so much fun.
So, what is like the ideal conditions for you, like, to exist?
Oh, thank you. Well, let me tell you.
If it's not 20 degrees in sunshine, or it's not
34 is ideal for me. In sunshine, 34? No breeze. I love sunshine.
34 degrees.
Yeah, and very specific. 34 or higher. Like I love Vegas Summer League. I know so many people.
Oh, you like the dry
it.
Heat? Okay, yeah.
But
actually, I don't mind
that. In like Florida and that, there's a lot more moisture in the air, so I don't care if it's 34 or higher. Like I have naturally curly hair, so like I'm a mess when that happens, but I'm here for it. Anything below like 27, like this is cold. Which I'll tell you, my husband does not hate me, but hates me because the thermostat in our place, I try to like get it up to 30.
Yo, what?
But if we don't have Gary Trent Sr., I'm going to take this time to do a mad beef with my husband right now.
Gary, you know what? Honestly, Gary, take your time, man.
Gary, take your time because we're going to just let me publicly yell at my husband because that's what we need to do.
Go.
You ready for it?
Let's go.
So I was on the road for 9 days. Leading up to it was crazy. I had a couple 905 sideline games. We had Raptors games. Everything was crazy. At Indiana, like I was working all day, all night, blah, 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 blah.
Pascal return, then you went to All-Star, then you went to Dunedin.
A lot of work, which I love. No complaints. Dunedin, it was work all day, every day. Loved it. But I fly back Saturday. My husband's in the country band, the Holy Gamblers. They had a show with Taylor Wallace and Ian James Bain at the Cameron House.
Bruce Smash should go see the show.
You know, he should. I told him he can guest feature on their next album.
Guest feature?
Yeah.
Okay, that's generous.
Only
if he keeps that mustache, let's be honest. Yeah.
And yeah, that stash it's already gone, thankfully.
Oh.
He trimmed a little bit, so it's not so great. But we'll get to it in a moment because I think I need to spare everyone about me yelling at my husband. I'd rather talk to Gary Trent Sr.
We do have Gary Trent Sr. on the line. Gary, welcome back to the program, Gary. So a few program changes today. My guy Alex, the other Asian guy on this show, has unfortunately moved on. And so I have another Raptors reporter, Lindsay Dunn.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So this your new partner now? He's gone?
Yeah, he's out of the picture. I know this is a question for a lot of people, and he has yet to announce what he's going to do next. Out of respect to him, we're going to let him make his own announcement. Players Tribune.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My next chapter. Yeah. But no, in the meantime, I got a couple people filling in. So Lindsay Dunn is a reporter here in Toronto, and she's helping with the show today. Lindsay, there was a question you want to ask Coach.
I could have filled in, but go ahead.
Oh,
there's still time.
You come to Toronto, you are filling in, I promise.
I've actually wanted to ask this because you are a champ, Coach. I think one of your teams is 21-0. You just recently had a big victory for the tournament. Can you take me through that W?
Okay, well, I've been coaching, I have 4 boys, and my 2 youngest sons, I coach them in basketball. And we've been having a team since 1st grade. So, as a matter of fact, my last loss was in 4th grade. I lost in the state championship game against my former teammate, Troy Hudson. And that was the last time I lost in 4th grade. So come 5th grade, we went 29-0. We won the state championship. Right now we're in 6th grade. And we were 21-0 until this past tournament. We won 4 this weekend. So now we're 25-0.
Okay.
And we have the state championship coming up this weekend. So we're the number 1 seed. Hopefully we should end up 29-0 again. My kid's been playing outstanding defense. Like I told them, we haven't shown up with any new offensive plays, and you guys haven't shown up with any new moves. The difference is when we win a game by 5 or by 30 is the effort, the defensive effort. And defensively right now, we are clicking on cylinders. We took the number 2 team in the state and held them to 10 points in the second half last week. So, yeah, they had 10 points in the second half. So we have stepped it up defensively. Our defensive communication is so beautiful. And to be honest, that's something the Raptors need.
I was going to say, we need you down here right now, man. Defensively, that's been the big issue all season.
Get on there.
No.
To be honest, not just the Raptors, though, but I'm saying any team that is successful, you have to have defensive communication. You have to be alerting guys. Like I tell my kids, you can discourage a guy from a move if you're guarding a guy one-on-one with the ball, but I'm your help side, and the guy with the ball keeps hearing me say, I got your help baseline, I got your help baseline. It's kind of like, well, I can't go baseline because I'm discouraging this kid. Yeah. And then the guy on the elbow is saying, I got your help middle, I got your help middle. The kid will probably take a couple dribbles and swing it because he feels like he's heard verbally all his options are taken away.
Yeah.
Even if they aren't taken away, we're screaming it that they are. Even the guys that can't guard him, if you still screaming it, he might buy into it and he's discouraged.
Yeah. No, I feel like, look, defensively, a lot of the conversation this year has just been like, we've seen games, no overtime, nothing. It was like Atlanta versus Indiana, and the total score was like 200, or it was like 300 points. It's like Atlanta lost a game scoring 150 this year in regulation. We've seen, obviously, the All-Star game, 211. Yeah, like, what happened to defense in the league? Like, is this like, what are some of the factors that led to these scores getting this inflated in the league right now?
I truly believe that if you look at soccer players, they do all that fake flopping like something really happened to them. Vlade Divac and a lot of the foreign players came over here with that weak flopping action, snapping their neck all hard and doing the flopping. You remember when Divac first started flopping on Shaq? A lot of the European players could not survive in the 80s and 90s due to the physicality. If you notice, we're at an all-time high in European players, and we're at an all-time high in soft D. The rules have changed. When I played basketball, if a guy flashed through the paint, you put your forearm out, you met him, and you didn't let him just flash in front of you. It was called chesting the cutter. That's been a basketball terminology for many a moons. Now, when I came back and I was coaching in the NBA, the new rule was it's called impeding the offensive player's progress. So that means I can let this guy go where he wants. He can cut where he wants. He can duck in where he wants. Imagine if they considered impeding Shaq. So that means when Shaq go to duck in, 2 feet in front of the
Oh,
basket,
man.
you're not allowed to meet him because we're impeding him.
Yeah.
So that's why the scores are inflated, because the defense have been forced to be softer. As time has went on, when I came into the league, you would hear all the old heads complain about, oh, the hand check rule is gone. The hand check rule is gone. So that was to them, like all the guys in the 80s and early 90s, they looked at us as, oh, it's soft. They took the hand check away. Now we're looking at it like the hand check is gone and we got to let a guy cut anywhere. It's at an all-time pillow fight high, man.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I can't disagree with some of those points. I will have to say, though, it's not just Europeans flopping in the league now. I feel like everybody added that to their game. Everybody added
I had to tell my son, stop that shenanigans.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I'm saying?
Gary got a flop. He got fined for a flop earlier this year.
Man, he did a flop a couple years ago where he was diving out the air. I'm like, son, stop. You know?
Good.
But the thing is, it's a league-wide thing now. I'm not just attacking European players. I didn't have to get on my son about them shenanigans. But due to the fact of, if you look at it, it's like I never heard them say impeding the offensive player's progress. Well, if I got to let a guy cut wherever
that's what
he
defense
wants,
is.
Yeah, exactly. I'm allowed. You know what they want? I'm allowed to play tough on-ball defense. But as far as movement without the ball and all that, you know, and that's why I can't understand where all these fights are coming from. How is it less physical but more fight? It ain't really more fight. It's a lot more arguing. You know, in our era, all that arguing, dude, we meet in the tunnel. I'll come in the locker room, or we could meet at a club. All this arguments. Like, people argue because it looks tough. But if you stepped out the way and said, y'all go ahead at it, I promise you 90% of them arguments will be done. They're arguing because I have the referees, I have the league, I have the fans, I have all this in place to protect me. So it's like a guy slapping the glass at the zoo, teasing a lion because he's behind the glass, you know?
No, I feel like no matter what, even if we plan to talk to you about it, man, we always talk about
but it's true though.
We always talk about NBA fights when you're on, man, because you know there was a recent one, right? Lindsay? Go ahead.
If there's anyone I've wanted to ask this question to, it's you. We saw the Miami Heat kind of suspensions come out, but Gary Trent Sr., I want to know, is there somebody when you were playing that you just did not have the chance to get to that argument with away from there because they were so annoying?
I had a guy that I bounty hunted for so many years, but I would never see this guy at a club.
No, you got to clarify, man. What are you talking about, man?
Listen, Donyell Marshall.
Oh, bro, Raptor legend, bro. What do you mean?
Listen, I looked for it. Listen, if I would have caught that guy, I was going to jail. I used to come to whatever city he played for. I would ask teammates, are he out? Is he out? Where does he go? What restaurants?
Okay.
I had a bounty on him until I could catch him. I tried to take him out one time in the game, and I got fined. We were up playing Golden State when he was with Golden State. I think we were up 25, and it might have been like 30 seconds left. And I tried to, like, when he went up, I came with no intention for the ball. I really was trying to flip him in the air. And NBA security called and was like, hey, do you guys have anything going on? I'm like, nah, it was just a hard foul. But I bounced him for so many years. I'm a person that won't let nothing go, really, especially when you respect me. And I met him in college at this thing for the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
It was at Brandeis University. You know, I came from a small school, Ohio University. So we were playing basketball. Like, they invite all these potential pro players out to this basketball camp. And I was like enamored that, wow, the Boston Celtics found me, and they get a sneak peek at me. Like, you know, nobody had came pro from the MAC conference since Ron Harper in '84. So for them to be giving me a look, I'm like, wow, this is a real opportunity. So when I get there, you know, this is what Donyell, the year before he came out, you know, he was like talking about his arm span and all these things he was doing and how he was great in college and whatnot. And he was. And when I got there, dude says, in front of all these guys that showed up, like, hey, who are you? I said, I'm Gary. He's like, what school you play for? I'm like, Ohio University. He's like, Ohio University? He's like, is y'all D1? Like, who are you? Who you play for? Do you even belong here? And he said all this to me in front of everybody, not knowing that I will get down on your head. But I knew, like, everything in my power. I'm like, if I come here and I break his jaw at the Brandeis camp in front of the Celtics and everything, this will shoot myself, maybe ruin my career. So I never, ever got a chance to put that punk ass in his place about disrespecting me like that. So for my whole career, I bounty hunted him.
Mm.
And the moment I would have found him was the moment I was going to knock every tooth out of his mouth. And I never found him to this day. Brian Shaw had a great story about him checking in the game. I'm not going to put it out there. You're going to have to bring Brian Shaw on the show and let him check. Right. Brian, listen, I started working with Brian over the last few years because my son was going to the Nike camp. And when I was going to the Nike camps, me and Brian was sitting at dinner one time, and he told me a funny story about dude. But I'm gonna let Brian tell it because he told it better.
All right.
But yeah, that was the one person that if I ever saw him, I probably would have. They called the police on that fight in Detroit. They would have had to call the police on me. If I'd have ran into him at a restaurant,
man,
it was up.
No,
if I would have ran into him at a restaurant, it was. I don't care who he could have been with, his mama, his girl, his kids. It was green light. And I didn't care who you was with. Wow. And that's how I was going to get down on him. I never saw him nowhere. And I mean, I would come to town. I would come to the club in sweatpants looking for him. I wouldn't even put no jewelry on.
You come to the club in sweatpants. You know you're not there for the reason. You're not there to dance.
I wouldn't put no Gucci, no designer. I'm coming to the club in sweatpants. Looking for this guy.
Nike tag.
I never found him.
Yep.
I never found. I looked for this guy for 10 years.
I'm so glad you didn't find him, man.
Oh my God.
I looked for this guy for 10 years.
Yo, 10 years is wild, man. Damn.
Man, I could have found that dude the last, not after, it could have been 9 years and 355 days, 64 days. He was going to catch it.
So I feel like this
I'm out of that space now, though.
You are out of that space. You know,
I'm out of that space now, but if I see him, it might reactivate me.
Right. You're coaching kids right now, you know? But I feel like this type of energy doesn't exist in the league anymore. Like, I don't even know two guys
it doesn't.
who would have anything close to this
right now. Draymond, there's a few guys still lingering, like Draymond. You know, Draymond getting away with a lot of that stuff because ain't nobody socked him in the mouth either.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, he picking on the right guys, but you got guys soft. You're soft. Like Nurkic, you're soft. You're talking about pressing charges over some in a basketball game. He's soft. He need to be somewhere. He's soft. You don't sit there and press no charge over a basketball game. Dude, you 7 foot, 200-some pounds. Put Draymond in his place. Don't try to call the cops, put him in his place.
Yeah.
He slapped you upside your head. Hey, Draymond, if he had any sense, hey, Draymond, here he can raise money. Me and you are going to do a charity event this summer. We're going to raise money on pay-per-view, and me and you going to fight. Like, there's a way that you can get money out of it and still whoop him.
You know, that's the only time NBA Adam Silver's saying no to money these days. If players want to fight each other, man. You know that.
Hey, listen. I set up the pay-per-view. We go ahead and fight on TV. Everybody want to see it. And I'm really looking to get even with you. Like Nurkic could have came with that, but instead he came soft.
We need you on Don. We need you on Danielle as the undercard for that one.
Nah. It ain't gonna make it to the. He don't want that. Okay. He don't want that. To be honest though.
Yeah. What's up?
If he would have ever pulled up on me with some acknowledgement, I might have let it go. Yeah. The dude never let it go. But here's how I got even though. I got a small little even. So after that summer, the next season, we play in Hawaii at this thing called the Hilo Classic.
Okay.
And every year, there's this Division II team that always beats a Division I team. It's in Hilo, right? So Connecticut is in a tournament. We're in a tournament. Now, I'm actually looking for this guy because I'm like, if I catch him on the beach or somewhere in the open.
Catch him on the beach.
Oh, dude, listen. I was looking for him in Hawaii because you got to realize this the following season. He did it to me during the summer, and now we're in Hawaii together. Dude, I'm about to drown your ass out here if I find you, man, on the beach. I'm about to drown him.
Oh, man.
So we ended up playing the Chaminade team. Yeah. They took us to overtime. They're a Division II school. Their assistant coach is scouting us. We're struggling so much with the team, he gets up and leaves the game and don't even finish scouting us.
Oh, that's suspect.
So we leave the game. We come back. We play Connecticut now. They're 4th in the country. We end up playing Connecticut. We end up putting them out the tournament when they were 4th in the nation.
All right.
And coach was so upset at them. Them guys weren't allowed to come out. Like they had to stay at the hotel. Like they're the 4th ranked team in the country. You got a Division II team, us and another team, and you lose to us. We jumped out on them like 25-4. And they never recovered. And we beat them that night. And I talked to some of the guys on the teams like, man, coach told us we got to stay at the hotel. Was disappointed because they came all the way to Hawaii not to lose.
Yeah.
This is Connecticut. They're 4th in the country. You got Danielle Marshall, who was arguably could have been number 1 through 5 pick. So they weren't supposed to lose. And I actually had 25 and 15 that game and beat those guys.
Wow.
So that was my little get back at that moment. But that really wasn't enough get back for how you disrespected me.
Got you.
That was basketball related. You disrespected me personally. So me getting back to you even on basketball, that didn't satisfy my appetite for your skull.
You know what, Gary? Why do I get the sense that this isn't the only beef you hold, man? I feel like I feel like there's other ones, that we could share on this public radio forum.
Yeah. Nah, I really didn't have no more.
Okay,
because anybody that I had a problem with, like I've got into some shoving match. Me and Shaq got into a shoving match. It was squash right there, like in that moment. Yeah, because
bro, so you're shoving a 400-pound guy.
It was just basketball though.
Okay.
It wasn't like it was a basketball moment. It was nothing personal. Dude disrespected me personal off the court.
Yeah, that's different.
On personal life.
That's different.
It had nothing to do with basketball. So when I see you, I'm going to catch you in personal life. Anybody that I had something with on the basketball court, once it happened on the court, maybe we met in the tunnel, maybe we met in the locker room, and it was over with. It was over with. I didn't carry none of that on because that's basketball. Y'all tough on TNT. Okay, cool. But when you disrespect me in personal life and it's non-basketball related, you're going to pay for that.
There you go.
That's not no pillow fight. Real quick follow-up. Where are you going right now?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm sitting in the car because I was in a restaurant and I wasn't going to be able to hear you.
Okay, gotcha.
I came out to the car.
I appreciate it.
I came out to the car because when I first answered, I don't have any earpiece or nothing, so I couldn't hear y'all.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me go outside. So then I was standing outside and all the traffic. I said, I need to get in the car.
Got you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
We're going to ask you about your son as well. Gary Trent Jr. Had the chance to interview him earlier this year. Seemed to be, at that time, didn't want to talk as much about the Raptors. I think he's come on stronger, right? He's back in the starting lineup. Lots of games he's hitting 5-6 threes. How do you think his son how do you think your son has adjusted to just this season with the Raptors? A lot of changes, but he's still here and he's still doing his thing.
I think of all the changes, he's probably went through the most. You came here, you was a starter, you was very acknowledged, you was very receptive and warm, you had a lot of love. Then they put you to the bench, then they bring you back. Like whenever there's a team change or something within the team, he has to be the sacrificial lamb for that. And it could be disappointing at times. And emotionally, it has worn on him, up and down, coming to the game, not knowing if you're starting, not knowing if you're playing, not knowing if I'm going to play 30 minutes or 15 minutes and things of that nature. It's tough to be somewhere when you're not like a relationship, right? Because any team that you're with, you have a relationship with the coach, the staff, the front office, the organization. So picture yourself in a relationship in that, or with a woman or a man or whatever relationship you're in, and you're not sure if they want you. You're not sure if they're happy with you. You're not sure how they feel about you. Today you're hot on me, tomorrow you're cold on me. So, and then the worst part about it is if you show any type of emotion or you show any way that you feel about it, you're unprofessional now. Because you're not allowed to have emotions. You're not allowed to express disappointment. You're not allowed to express being stepped on. So when you have those type of feelings, Monday I'm stepped on, Tuesday I'm hugged, Wednesday everything is good, Thursday we're not sure. Like when you go through all those wave of emotions, my son has been very, very mentally strong and emotionally strong to not erupt, stay professional, and no matter what the situation is, he still comes to work, doesn't gripe, hasn't said anything bad, hasn't done anything negative, hasn't done any conduct to the team type of detriment or things of that nature. But it's a tough business to be in. And like I explained to my son, really past the first 4 guys on the roster, damn near every roster will have 5 guys going through what you go through. So this is not just a Gary Trent Jr. thing. This is a league-wide thing. There's a lot of guys on every team that go through this, and that's just how the nature of the business works, So like I told him, you can't take it personal because it's not personal, just in trying to help him understand, well, why is this going on? Why is that going? That's just come with the game. One day when you play 10 minutes on Monday and then 30 minutes on Wednesday, it's like, people expect you to remain emotionally and mentally consistent when you're being treated inconsistent. You just said you have a husband, right? Imagine if your husband treated you inconsistent, how you're going to be. And imagine not being allowed to say nothing. Imagine not being allowed to acknowledge it or speak on it. You got to stay and keep it to yourself and shut up. How's that relationship going to work?
You already know I tried to call him out on this show 5 minutes ago. It wouldn't work well at all.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not just a Raptor thing. That's not just my son thing. That's how the business go. I've been in that situation. I've had friends and teammates in that situation. You know, it just makes it tough, though. It makes it tough to function when you're not sure of how I'm going to be treated, or I'm not sure of what my role is today, or I'm not sure of what's going to happen today. But like I said, he stayed very professional. We've had those discussions. He understands what to do. He understands his role. He understands how to be. And that's why you see him staying professional no matter how he's treated over the last 3 seasons. You've never seen him carry on any differently. You haven't seen him missing practice. You haven't seen him shouting matches with the coaches like guys be doing on the team. He's not into that stuff.
No, he doesn't dodge the media. I see him, and I'm not just saying this because you're on this right now. Anybody that's ever watched the program I'm on City News or Sportsnet, I'm such a huge fan of Gary Trent Jr. for how he handles himself on and off the court. He's always talking to fans. He's not pouting. He puts in the work. So I appreciate this, but I do have a question for you about, you were on here in December talking about the team, and you were asked kind of the mindset of the team, if it seemed like they were playing any less selfless. There's been so many changes to this roster. What have you seen in the last month? Is it even possible to kind of get that chemistry and make an adjustment?
You know, it's tough on Darko. It's tough on Darko when you have so many changes and you have so many different voices of input, and you're trying to play against teams who are not dealing with what he's dealing with. When you're dealing with teams who don't have all those changes, when you're dealing with teams that have full of chemistry, when you're dealing with teams that are in rhythm like the Bostons, in rhythm like the Philadelphias and teams like that, it's hard on him and his staff because they got to wake up one day and run plays for this guy. Now we got to start all over. They're trying to build around Scotty, but we got new RJ, we got new Quickly, we just got rid of Siakam. So, like, I think Darko's whole time there has been all adjusting, you know, so he's never got a chance to really show his true coaching ability and his true skills and what he really can bring as a coach, because he's spending all his time adjusting. He hasn't spent a lot of time putting his stamp on something and running a system. He's been spending a lot of his time adjusting a system. So I think once the Raptors get all the pieces in place, and then Darko can go ahead and just coach and not have to worry about all those other things, I think the Raptors will be on the up and up.
Yeah, I think, honestly, you're absolutely right. Like, it's hard to fully evaluate Darko just on this season alone. He did have a time in the start of the year where it was like, you know, you got to decide how you're going to set up your team, because they did have like a 25, 30-game run with a team that were largely healthy. I know one of the key decisions he made was they started Dennis at the point guard, brought Gary off the bench, you know, and I think that I remember asking Darko, like, okay, why does Gary produce less off the bench than versus the starters? And I didn't really get like a great answer from that. Maybe I'll just ask you, like, because we've seen your son now be as a starter, as a reserve. I feel like, generally speaking, he's a totally different guy, more effective when he starts. But what is the big difference there, do you feel like, in terms of getting the production out of him, starting versus coming out the bench?
The starting role puts you out there at the beginning. You're engaged from jump ball. You're a part of the whole movement. It's like coming off the bench, we're playing catch up in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Now and as a backup, you know, that's your role. That's what you got to do. That's the mindset you have to have, and you have to find a way to be successful within that. You know, I spent many years as a backup, so I totally get the having to come in and catch up type of thing. I just think if you look at his production versus it's all about opportunity. Look at the days that he has minutes and look at the days that he has shots. Of course, there's days where he shoots bad, but everybody does that. But the more consistent in your routine, the more consistent in your role, the more consistent that your role is defined for you, the more consistent you are as a player. Take Steph Curry, right? Start him Monday, bring him off the bench Wednesday, give him 30 minutes Friday, give him 10 minutes Sunday. He ain't going to be Steph Curry. There's a certain mental comfort. There's a certain spiritual comfort. There's a certain level of confidence that when you already know, I'm going to play this minutes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. This is what coaches expect of me. This is what coach wants me to do. This is what my team needs. When you can come to the arena in that mindset, you're able to be more productive. Imagine if you went home every day and you had to question yourself before you walk through your door. How's my house going to be? What's going to happen when I get in the house? What's the reception going to be? Is the house going to be hot? Is the house going to be cold? Is there going to be food? Is there not going to be food? Think about your mindset and how inconsistent it's going to be hard for you to maintain that flat line of focus still, you know? And that's where it's called being mentally tough. And that's where it's called being professional.
Got you. Lindsay, you got any more questions?
I do have one because I do want to know your answer to this. I was at the All-Star game, and this jabroni reporter, I'm calling him that because when I was playing pool, he went and sat on the pool table because he's an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm like, we're playing right now. Move out of the game. So I already have beef with him. But he asked Adam Silver, he asked LeBron, he asked other players, who is going to be the new face of the league? Which, in my opinion, I'm not you, but I'm like, you can't. You're going with Wemby. Okay, I'm like, I want to know your thoughts.
Wemby. I mean, they're building the whole world around them. Everything that they're doing, all the commercials, all the excitement. I mean,
are you excited?
Like not even about just the league. I think he's like the next sports phenomenon. Like if you look at Wemby, like the way they're acknowledging him across the country, across the world, Louis Vuitton he's modeling for. I don't think they've ever taken a black male athlete and put them as the face and sponsor them. I think Wemby is the next face, like after LeBron, and rightfully so. I'm not going to say he's earned it yet because he's a rookie, but everything that he's doing is to be in place for that level of greatness. And I'm telling you, man, in about probably mid next season, that dude going to be unstoppable, man. You can't stop him. The only thing people can try to do is muscle with him. But once he learns his own strength and learns how to spin off all that extra aggressive fighting and all that pushing, man, Wemby about to be a force. He
already a force. He came to Toronto, had 10 blocks. Yeah, 10 blocks, man.
That's what I'm saying. He's about to, like, from year 2 on, I don't see him not being an all-star starter for, like, the next 15 years or 20 years of his career. Yeah. He just got to stay healthy. All he got to do is stay healthy and keep working. Wemby got Hall of Fame written all over him. And I think from a character standpoint, he seems like a good kid. He seems, very respectful. He seems like he's about his business and understanding. He doesn't seem immature. I think he understands the magnitude of what he can be to society and to the world. And he's playing it perfect, man. Like you couldn't write a better script for success. And all he got to do is follow the dance steps on the floor. And I think everything will fall into place for him.
All right, Gary, one last question for you because you're on the go right now. And I've always wanted to ask you this because we've done a couple interviews already. So everyone knows your son, Gary Trent Jr. All right. You got 3 other sons. Yep. Grayson, Graydon, and Gary's son. Take me through the naming process. Like, obviously, they're all Gary related. How did you end up with 4 sons named Gary, basically?
I got Gary. That was me. And then I wanted Gary Jr. Yeah. But I didn't want to call my son Junior because that's country. When you're like, Junior, I don't know if y'all know, but like that's country. When you hear people say Junior. So it was Gary. It's Gary D. Trent II. But we've called him JR for so long. Everybody's calling him JR. So it just became like a Gary Jr. thing.
Okay.
So that was obvious on the junior side as my first son. Then you have my son Garrison. His name is spelled Garryson. So when you go to the doctor or dentist office, it looks like Gary's son because it's on paper. It looks like Gary's son. And the reason why, because he's Gary's son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you want real Nordic with that one. Yeah. Like you know how like Icelandic people? Yeah.
All my kids have the same middle name, and we all have the same last name.
Okay.
So there's Gary's son, but it's pronounced Garrison. If you say it fast, it's Garrison. Yeah.
All right.
But it's on paper, it's spelled out Gary's son, Garryson, but it's all one word. So you have that. And since there's no other Gary, now I flipped Grayson to Grayson. So he just flipped around the R and A to make it Gary. You know what I'm saying? So he's got Gary in his name.
Yeah.
And then I got my youngest son, Gray Dunn, who's Graydon. Just flip the Gary around, just a little tweak, little tweak, and he still got Gary in his name.
Gotcha.
And that's where all the Gary times 4 comes from.
Yeah. No, it's I love that, man.
I love that.
Thank you for entertaining that question.
And
Gary,
giving us the quote, all-time pillow fight high. That is my highlight. I'm using that all season long. Thanks for that.
Hey, Gary, man, I appreciate you. Anytime you're in the studio, anytime you're in the city, you're co-hosting with me, all right?
Thanks, man. I don't want to get her fired or nothing.
No, don't worry. We got 3
got
desks.
the pretty blonde hair, so I know you got to get your female fan base up. We can't have the show full of testosterone.
No, you're right.
You need a little balance on there because it was kind of, a lot of testosterone.
Yeah, representation-wise, it wasn't.
Ratings up.
No, we could have improved representation-wise, but we got 3 desks. We got you anytime you come back in the city, all right? Appreciate you.
Appreciate that.
All right.
He's the best.
Gary Trent Sr.,
all-time
man.
pillow fight high.
Bro.
That was amazing.
Because you know what? I feel like sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't want to typecast, right? Because we've had discussions a lot about NBA enforcement, let's say, right? And we didn't set it up. It just went there. And I did not know he had a beef with Danyell Marshall. Damn.
Oh, neither did I when I asked the question for the record.
I was like, Danyell Marshall, I remember like being a Swiss Chalet, watching him hit 12 threes against the Sixers as a kid. Like, that was cool.
I'm
like,
real happy they did not meet over that 10-year time span.
10 years is a long time, man. That's like a Gollum. That's like Gollum chasing the ring type of beef. I like it. No, but I appreciate his thoughts on defense.
Yeah.
Just his perspective on his son. And I think it's really
emotions, yeah.
It's important to clarify that like he is not speaking, his son is not speaking through him. He is speaking as a father who is obviously very, very involved, especially with his son working literally in the same industry, in the league. It's like that's the frustration. But he is not saying that on behalf of Gary. Gary is not making him say that. You could very much tell nobody makes Gary Trent Sr. say anything.
He's speaking for himself.
Yeah. But I appreciate the perspective. And, I think, the back of my mind thing, going back to the media topic, was like, back when I'm like, you think Gary wants to re-sign in Toronto? And I'm like, why would I set up this man who is giving us a lot of time to potentially get quoted in a way that might be misrepresented?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm not gonna ask him this question. That's not fair to him in that moment. Because again, he doesn't speak for his son. If I could just ask Gary that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or whenever they come back to Toronto.
You're right, because then someone would take that, misquote it.
I just don't think it would be fair. That's
it's
all.
not.
Yeah.
Thank you for not doing that.
Well, I don't want to say thank you. I appreciate that, but I mean, I just want to appreciate him coming on. Also,
he's so funny.
The four Garys thing just kills me.
When you ask, I'm like, thank you for getting him to clarify that, Grayson.
He's like, there's no more Garys.
Garyson.
It's time for me to
Garyson.
remix other Gary names.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
He's a legend. He is a legend. He's hilarious. I hope that his food wasn't cold by the time he got back, though, because he spent a couple minutes with us. Very entertaining.
Very entertaining. I know that was one of the big requests you wanted to make. You also wanted to request Chris Webber.
Yeah, I just think Gary Trent Sr. is hilarious. I love his insight on stuff, but
take me through
C-Web.
your fandom of C-Web.
I loved watching Chris Webber play in the NBA.
So like we talking like Warriors, Chris Webber. We talking.
We're talking all
Kings,
of it.
Chris
Kings.
Webber.
I have an NBA Jam shirt with him and white chocolate on it. Like
okay.
Also as a person, I think he's great, and he has a fantastic small career that happened in the music industry.
Oh yes. You explained this to me once. Yeah.
As a person, he's always been great to deal with. I loved his style on the court. I thought he was fun to watch. Like he was during my childhood, and it's a nostalgic thing. And I just think it's interesting. And he now has his like own book company, where he's a book publisher.
Wow.
Like,
it's
fun.
The thing is, we did make the request, and he did
he's
say
like,
yes.
It's that girl? No.
Unfortunately, he's just on vacation right now, so we just got to bring you back another time so that you can.
If I didn't get canceled after that last moment, I'm in.
I don't think that's the problem. I just hope Derek had the cuss button ready to go.
When he said that, I looked at you like, I've never been on live TV where they said the F word. I was like, I'm so sorry.
Again, you know what? People think it's easy to do this job. You try to rein in and be like, hey. Yeah, well, things happen, but we appreciate his candor as always, his energy, and we're gonna take one last break today. Been your host, Willow. You've been listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new chunky spicy soup. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Lou. Continue to be joined by Phil and co-host Lindsay Dunn. Lindsay, I gotta say, like performance review wise, now that we're live on air and you're on the spot, you're killing this. So. Yeah, you are really setting the bar high.
Can I come back tomorrow?
You are totally allowed to come back tomorrow because I have no other plan if you don't. So please make sure you arrive tomorrow. What's a day in the life of Lindsay Dunn? Like what do you have to do tomorrow, for example?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to the Leafs morning skate. Some great storylines following them. Then I'm doing a virtual press junket about Full Swing Season 2 that will be on Netflix. If you follow golf, there's a lot of storylines there, a lot of hype surrounding that. Then I will be here. After that, I will then go be live from the Leafs game from 5 to 6. Wow. And then at night, I have a couple music interviews that I'll be doing in person.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of other stuff I haven't seen in the calendar because I'm trying to go hour by hour.
How did you even find time to do this humble show?
You mean this amazing show that thank you for having me on? And I was supposed to be here 3 days this week, but the schedule got changed by my work that I couldn't get out of something on Wednesday. But I love it. This is fun. We're talking hoops. We're seeing F-bombs dropped on air. And
well.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah, it's been a great time, honestly. That's what I'm saying. You're really like, the bar is really high right now. You know what I mean? Like the bar to like co-host the Raptors show right now is real high. Like I feel like my seat is hot right now.
No.
You know? So yeah, appreciate Gary once again for joining the program. There was a story that we were working to get Gary connected and he was working to get back into his car. And you were telling a story that you may want to finish.
Oh, yeah, which Gary, sweetheart that he is, told me not to finish this story because he says my husband might not be so sweet on me when I get home, which, like, you're the best for watching out for me. But I have a mad beef with my husband because the last, 10 days were crazy. We're talking about crazy was he's in a band that I mentioned, the Holy Gamblers. They had a show, and I said, all I ask is I don't want to be out till 3 a.m. I was traveling all morning, and I had a bunch of work I had to do Sunday. We get home after 3. I'm in bed by, 4 a.m., and I don't know what term I can use, but what did I say? I was trying to clarify. We can't swear. I can't abbreviate swear words.
Yeah, more fudge.
Mo Fudge, mother trucker, gets up at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. yesterday, and I don't know. It's the crankiest I think I've ever been in my life. So I just want to say I love you, but also you do that again, and I still love you because I'm not going to do anything. He's adorable.
Is he watching? Like, is he a big
He absolutely
sports
is
fan?
watching. No, he's not a sports fan at all.
But he is watching.
He is watching.
Nice.
And he's the best. And I'm just teasing him because
I like you.
What?
I got a soundbite.
Oh, whoa.
Yes.
Wow. The ghost of Alex lives on and drops.
Oh, but I tell you, man, I was so zesty with him. I think we've been together for more than 10 years. It's the zestiest I've ever been in my life.
You make someone sleep 3 hours on a Sunday.
And when they traveled all day and we're on the road for 9 days, I'm like, get out of here. But I came from Blue Jays spring training, which I was just telling you in the break.
Yeah, how was it?
I loved it. It was my first time there. I had so many great interactions with even the security guards there, the fans that were there.
Nice.
But it's just that optimism of a new season.
Oh, yeah. You believe anything in the new season. You're like, man, you know, like Justin Turner, MVP season. Yeah, sure. Why not? 40 home runs. Yeah, okay. Like Jordan Romano leading the league in saves. Sure. Yeah, why not? You know, like who are these other Jays pitchers, man?
Did
you say Kikuchi, Cy Young? Yeah, okay. Maybe not, but
we're going to have another Gold Glove season from Kevin Kiermaier in the outfielder. Dalton Varsho is going to have a huge year. George Springer is going to hit a whole bunch of dingers. He's the leadoff batter again. Let's go. It's a lot of excitement, and it just was fun to be around that. And the sun was shining, and just everyone was so optimistic. But their playlist, I don't know, people don't say this anymore, but it was whack.
Oh, really?
It was
What are you talking about? Like the walk-in songs?
No, so they have this giant complex, and they'll do like warm-ups and stretches before they actually go for the rest of the drills. This is at 8 a.m. It went from like Metallica, Miley Cyrus to Genuine Pony.
What is the vibe of this place?
It was so all over the place. I felt like I was getting whiplash from the music. And I'm all for any genre.
No, I know
this, but it's like, what is happening? And I felt like somebody was punking us. And then like Shania Twain's Man, I Feel Like a Woman sprinkled in there.
Classic. Classic. Is that a country song? Is that country?
It is a country song. But did you hear him say Junior? That could be your country, saying for tomorrow.
Junior?
Junior.
I don't know, man.
Okay, you still have homework to
It's
work
culturally
on.
very confusing for me because nobody in China is a junior, I'm pretty sure. Like, no one just names their son the same name, I don't think. Like, I've never encountered that ever once. But, I mean, 4 sons with the same name, that's even more unique. So
I'm so glad you asked that.
I do not want to say anything more, man. I do not want to be the next Daniel Marshall. No, that's awesome. I hope the Blue Jays hit more than 10% in with runners on scoring position. This season, and if they do that, maybe combined with their excellent pitching, they'll be good. But I know, oh man.
There was a moment I felt 900 years old. I was interviewing David Schneider and Ernie Clement, two of the younger players on the team, and they drive
Oh, is that the guy with the mustache with the glasses?
Mustache man. On the way to practice. I don't know what's happening. I've had so much Coca-Cola today. But they listen to a playlist on the way to training camp, and they end it now with SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet Victory. Am I the only one that is not in on the SpongeBob SquarePants greatest hits? Is this a thing?
I thought they had like the F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me, and it's for anywhere, anything in the world. But like that's
Keep
one
going.
song. No, I mean I was like 10.
I didn't know.
I was like 12. You know, like you come home from school. School finished at 3:30. You get home. YTV The Zone is on 4 to 6. You know, Amit's in the corner nodding. He's like, yeah. Talk that talk. Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh was on. Like Pokemon was on. You know, Fairly Odd Parents. You know, and SpongeBob. And yeah. So, but I mean, I don't know that song specifically though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but can you sing that song one more time?
We're gonna have to take a quick detour here because we have to talk about basketball, and it's time now for Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. Take a chance. Thank you, Bet Rivers. The line tonight is Raptors +6. They are playing the Pacers, so the line is set at 245 points. Honestly, that's a little low against the Pacers. I think the Raptors, by the way, did exactly 244 against the Hawks over the weekend. In terms of injuries, seems like RJ is not on the injury report, which is good because he's been obviously managing a little bit with that knee injury. This not being a back-to-back, I think he should be ready to go. Aaron Nesmith apparently is out with an ankle, and Jalen Smith, who wears glasses in the game, kind of looks a little bit like a SpongeBob character, has a questionable decision to play tonight. He's game-time decision with a back issue. I did see him play last night. The Pacers were able to beat the Mavericks. And you know, the Pacers obviously a team that we should be fairly familiar with because they got Pascal Siakam. But Lindsay, what's the key matchup for you in this one? Like, you know, what's the matchup you want to see? Is this Pascal and Scotty again, or is it a different one?
I can't help it. I want to see that again over and over again to see how they react, how they adjust for each other.
Yeah.
And I just want to see what Tyrese Halliburton's going to do. I don't believe he's on the injury list. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it's not going to have a back-to-back. Who knows? But
yeah, you don't know, but it was just so entertaining to watch him during All-Star Weekend and the fan reaction, and just like he showed out. And I know like he was coming back from injury this year and all that other stuff, but just to see how he can impact the game and who's going to stop him. Like, I don't know the matchup with Gary Trent Jr. Like, just he had such a great defensive game the other day.
They might have to use him on him again, yeah.
Like, I don't know, but definitely Scotty and Pascal.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you?
I think probably the same. Like, what do you want me to be like? Jordan Nwora versus like TJ McConnell off the bench? Like,
coaches against each other to see what's happened. Maybe they'll get fired up.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Rick Carlisle is really like mellowed out.
Yeah, he called me a leprechaun last year. I don't know if he mellowed out.
Oh, okay.
I was wearing all green. It was after St. Patrick's Day.
Wow.
We got beef.
We got to have you on more podcasts so you can tell more of these random stories. This is good. Rick Carlisle called. Yeah, this is awesome. I like that.
Wait, Leprechaun Linsanity the leprechaun.
Oh yeah, right. I got homework for tomorrow. I got to come up with a country phrase. I got to introduce you as Linsanity. You know.
And get prepared for a pizza party.
Yeah, pizza party. You know, we'll actually talk more about the pizza party thing. But anyway, let's rule in favor of the pizza party. Raptors go get that win tonight. It'd be nice because you know the Hornets have already won 4 straight. So the Raptors, the least you could do is get 3. So that's Between the Lines. Brought to you by Bet Rivers. Take a chance, and that does it for us today. Been your host, Walu. You've been listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Brought to you by Campbell's new Chunky Spicy Soup. It's time to get fired up. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe. And please rate and review the program. Thanks once again to producer Amit Man, our board producer Derek Brandale, Jennifer Rolnick, David Sis, Jared Manatad for helping us behind the scenes. Big thanks to our guest Gary Trent Sr. and I suppose Bruce Brown as well. You know, for a great interview with Lindsay Dunn, who obviously killed it as a co-host. And we'll be back tomorrow.